welcome back to New Mom. Today on the show, I sat down for an awesome conversation with my friend Brytnee Atkinson. She's back on the show to talk about breastfeeding. She and I share that we had what we call our failed breastfeeding experiences. We struggled, and we just wanted to share this with other women because I feel like it's not talked about enough. So if you are on the breastfeeding journey, if you're struggling, if you're considering whether to keep going, we just want you to take heart, and we hope that this episode encourages you no matter what you decide. It's just something that's really tough, and a lot of us walk through it in motherhood. So I hope this conversation blesses you. You'll probably laugh along with us, and there's also some really just beautiful moments where Britt really preaches. So enjoy. She mentioned ice packs on the breast that you ice like crazy, maybe even more so than when you're weaning, because your milk comes in.
Right.
So that's like really crazy. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know what women do. I think about that a lot. Women that are just like, I'm not going to breastfeed at all because I've heard it's very painful for a few days. Yeah, I don't know. So we're rolling. So we're good?
Oh, yeah.
Let's do this. Okay. Brytnee, you're back.
I'm back.
Welcome back to New Mom.
Thank you.
Had to have you on because, because I love you. And
no one else.
we have no one else. There's no one else calling, guys.
You're
no.
out of ideas.
We are
the peanut gallery over
already
there?
repeating people. No, you're just my best friend. And I really wanted to talk with you specifically about our failed breastfeeding experiences. Need to talk about it. I say failed lightly. We're teasing.
Yes.
They were not failed. That's actually a point I want to make.
Yeah.
We did the thing, but I just feel like so many girls, there's not a girl that, every single girl that struggles with breastfeeding has some sort of like at least lower T trauma from it, I think.
Oh my gosh,
and shame
absolutely.
and all the things. And we all feel alone, even though we're all going through the same thing. And so, I wanted us to just come on and kind of just share our stories because I really feel like I would have loved to have had this conversation when I was going through it and kind of normalize it because it's like everybody's experiences, like our stories are very different, but both of us had to stop breastfeeding before we wanted to.
Yeah.
For different reasons. And I just want girls to feel less alone on this topic.
I'm so passionate about this topic because everybody has their thing in postpartum that was like the hardest thing. Mm-hmm. And this was mine. Like when I look back at the darkness of the postpartum days, I can link it all back to breastfeeding.
Totally. I feel the same way.
Yeah, because it's so isolating, and it's bizarre how every mom goes through some kind of experience with breastfeeding, whether they like we were just talking about, whether they decide not to. Your milk's going to come in.
You still have to go through it. Either way, your milk's you're going to have milk, and you have to either dry it up or figure out, and then you have to figure out the formula thing, which is honestly kind of a part of the whole feeding in general. Most women don't have a seamless time with all their children. Yeah. It's usually a point of contention. But the breastfeeding thing is kind of universal. Yeah. So, yeah. Also, I just want to address before we get too far into this that both of us are extremely insecure about our situations right now. I pulled down my sweater 3 times. I was like, hold on, I need to address this. I feel like this sweater doesn't look good. Brytnee's hair, I think, looks beautiful.
I feel like I look like George Washington. And
I just was like, I can't.
In the pool.
The George Washington hair you do in the pool when you're 10. Flip it back. I just couldn't pull down my sweater one more time without mentioning that. And I'm laughing don't add us. I'm laughing because I literally said, I was like, because now that my boobs feel so like they're hanging from breastfeeding, I'm like, hey, we're talking about breastfeeding. This is totally fine. I'll just wear a sweater that makes my boobs look like they're hanging.
And my issue is I look like a 10-year-old boy in everything that I wear because I lost my boobs after breastfeeding.
See, that's what's crazy too. We were just talking about this before we started recording. The fact that girls have different reactions after breastfeeding. It's like mine, as Connor would say, got hollow.
Oh, come on.
At Connor Alexander.
I'm just kidding. But mine feel like they're still there, but they just feel like a different, I don't know, that something's different. And then some people, yours just maybe they didn't go away. They got smaller.
It's like, to me, it's like a nice raw bowl of spinach, and then you cook them.
Yes. What's left? That's not even one serving. Yeah, that's actually really good. Anyway, I'm sorry. Go back to your preaching on breastfeeding. I just had to point out that I'm extremely insecure in the sweater, and I'm owning it.
And I'd like to point out that this is Carrie's sweater.
Yes. Well, really, it's Newly's, but
it's Newly's.
It's mine for the week, guys. And it didn't look good on me. So
anyway, breastfeeding.
Yes.
Yeah. I think it's the topic, which is so funny, that I'm most passionate about because it gave me the most grief in the postpartum days, and it's when I felt the most alone. And I don't know why. It seems like it's not talked about.
I feel like it's not.
And I think that a lot of women, because it's such a primal thing, and it's like this, for me, it was like, oh, I had one job. And even though there were things that I can control. Yeah, I'm made to do this. And then you have the people that it actually is easy for. And I feel like which is great, thank God. But it seems to be that they're the more outspoken group.
Yes.
And so then you're not getting, and I wonder if there's just this sense of shame in a lot of women that don't want to mention that their kids are on formula.
Yes.
But yeah, it's been a journey.
Yeah, I totally. Well, I just think I look back to when you were probably 9 months pregnant. I was very newly pregnant. And I don't know if you remember this, but we went on a walk in our neighborhood and we started talking about, you were kind of like, I'm going to try to breastfeed. We started talking about, that was the first time we kind of discussed our feelings about it, our expectations, our hopes. And you were saying you wanted to.
Yes.
But you were kind of like, if it doesn't work out, it's okay. I'm really excited to try it. It's important to me. And I just noted that because I felt the exact same way.
Yeah.
And I said to you, I feel the same way. I'm pretty surrendered about it. I really want to try it, but I don't want to let it rob me of anything.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
LOL. I won't
you.
let this. Yeah. Both of us.
Crying at 4 a.m.
I'm a failure. But we had we had good intentions.
We had good
We
intentions.
had a good head on our shoulders with it. I don't think we were those people that were like, breastfeeding is, I think breastfeeding and breast milk is incredible.
Absolutely.
But I wasn't like, it's my number one value of having a child, that this is the most important thing, is that he's fed breast milk. Connor, the producer back there. It was not my number one. It was on the list, and it was something I hoped for, and it was important to me to try for a few weeks, a few months, but it wasn't like, for both of us, we were kind of like, hopefully.
Yes.
But there were other things that kind of took precedent, like mental health and being present with your child and things like that. So we had good intentions.
Yeah.
But then, share your story, because
oh man,
I might chime in, but share yours first.
This is just a thought that just came to me as you were saying that. But I remember this conversation that we had and how chill that I thought that I was about it.
Chill as mom, yes.
Yeah, I'm like, whatever. If
it happens, it happens.
And I thought everything was going to be great. And then it's ironic that it was my main source of grief, I guess, in the postpartum days. And I think that hormones probably play a big factor in that as well, because you're going through this crazy hormone crash, and you're telling yourself like, this comes from my body, this is all me, and then something goes wrong. And so it's not only that you have this level of disappointment, but then you're like dealing with taking care of a human and having no idea what to do, and having a lack of sleep, and having your hormones go crazy, and then like to add shame on top of that, it's just it's so overwhelming.
It is.
So I'm trying to think of where to start. Okay, at the hospital. This is where I would say this is where it started to go wrong. At the hospital, I didn't have help with a lactation consultant. And so I was there for a few days, and
didn't you miss them or something? Or they came in when you were asleep?
She came in at one point and looked at Jude and was like, "Oh, he's too tired," and left. And I will say, we had 10 births the night that I was there, and they usually have like 4. And so they were bringing in people from other units.
Okay.
They were completely understaffed. So I understand how maybe that was overlooked, but I think that that's really valuable to get that help immediately.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And did not at all.
And then your mom hadn't breastfed, so you didn't have your mom's necessarily help, or sisters don't have kids yet. So you were kind of on your own with it.
Yeah, so I felt on my own, and my mom was there and encouraging and was like, do it. I'm here to do whatever you can. I can't remember. She gave me, I'm going to have to go back and think about that. She gave me some good advice when I finally stopped, but she was like, you don't have to be a hero in this area. They're going to be fine. But yeah, so came home, he just wasn't latching, and he had a tongue tie, which we should talk about.
We'll definitely talk about
as well.
ties,
Yes. Came home, he wasn't latching, and I had a lactation consultant come by one time, and then it was like a series of unfortunate. It's kind of a comedy now that I look back.
Honestly, it kind of is. Wasn't she like having a baby or something?
So she was 9 months pregnant.
Okay.
She got the stomach flu, couldn't come for 3 or 4 days, and then the day that I was supposed to meet with her, she went into labor. And then the next girl couldn't come for like 4 or 5 days. So I'm sitting here like,
That's a
just
long
popping
time, Brytnee.
Jude, like trying to figure it out.
I'm just trying to picture that, and I would have been frazzled beyond belief. That's a long time to try to be figuring it out on your own.
And then you Google it, right?
Oh, yeah.
And they say heat compress, cold compress. No, don't do this. Oh, hand express. Wait, don't hand express because then it's going to get worse. And
The advice is all over the place.
Yeah.
So you'll get clogged ducts if you do that. You'll oversupply if you do this.
Yes.
You'll lose your milk if you do that.
Yes.
What?
So it was just
Don't use the pump. Use the pump.
It was like a physics equation.
Yes.
And, I just, at like 3 a.m, I just remember times where I would just jump in the bath and like be hand expressing and then check Google and be like, this isn't working. And then people would say, well, you shouldn't do that. That's going to make it worse. And just like,
So were you
chaos.
exclusively, sorry to interrupt and also sorry to hit the mic, were you exclusively breastfeeding at first? Did you start pumping right away? Did you start bottle feeding? Like how did that first couple weeks go?
So I pumped for about 5 or 6 weeks. And
So you were pumping right away?
Yeah, because I would put Jude on and it would take him, I remember, because we would do the weighted feeds to try to figure out how much he was getting.
Oh,
yes. And then there's also,
scale.
gosh, I feel like I have so much to say about this. There's also
Take your time.
that we found out he wasn't getting fed enough when he was a few days old.
That's right. That was
yeah.
really scary for you guys.
Which was really scary. So I feel like I had a little bit of trauma of I need to make sure he's getting fed.
Yes.
On top of him. So when I would try to get him to latch, we would have him on the breast for like 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would weigh him and he would get an ounce.
Oh my gosh, that's so stressful.
So it was so stressful.
So you're worried about his weight.
So I'm worried about his weight.
Yeah.
So I start exclusively pumping. And then that's the other, it's just hilarious. Like looking back now, there's probably a mom watching this that's like, it's not hilarious. But like looking back now and going, I have a perfectly healthy 1-year-old.
Yeah, a precious
and
boy.
He's mostly
fine.
formula fed. He's everything's
so
fine. Looking back at the things that kind of went down, but I remember Googling when you have to feed, or I'm sorry, when you have to pump. And everybody was like, you have to pump between 2 and 5 a.m. because there's something there that's when you're.
It's supposed to be the best. Let me just tell you, I never once did that because I refused. I mean, that's part of my failure story.
I had to catch some Z's
I was
over
like,
here.
No. If he's sleeping, I'm sleeping. Every friend that pumped was like, you got to do the middle of the night pump.
Okay, so you've heard of this.
Yes, because it's apparently when you have the most supply coming in. It's when you have the most milk, and it'll stimulate it the best for the rest of the day. And I was like, no. A hard pass.
Yes. So I would get up 3, 4 in the morning. I would pump for 30 minutes. And then I would feed Jude, or Matt would get up with me and feed Jude, and we would put Gilmore Girls on.
Oh,
because
yeah,
I
you
needed
would.
something to distract me while I pumped, because that wasn't fun.
We'll get into that.
Yes, get into letdowns.
Yes.
Letdowns, am I right?
Yes, especially pumping letdowns. Different. Psycho.
What is that about?
I'm serious when I say, like, raging bee. Every time that the pump went on, Connor's like, I got to get out of here. Oh, she's pumping. I'm
Just
out.
running.
And I am you and I are both pretty level-headed, pretty gracious. I had my moments in postpartum, but my word, when the pump went on, and I've heard other girls say this. I was talking to a girl the other night at that festival, and she was talking about pumping. She's like, I'm exclusively pumping, and I turned into a raging bee. That's what she said. And I'm like, just so you know, I think this is a thing. Because
you are not alone.
You are not alone. I don't know if it's because you know how they say, I know nothing of what I'm talking about. I'm just spitballing here. But don't they say like oxytocin or something's released, happy hormones are released when the baby's nursing? And I wonder if it's because it's the machine, if it's like spikes your cortisol or something. Because it is like I was sweating, I was rageful, I was angry at life, angry at Connor, angry at Archie. It was not good. Specifically with pumping. We can talk about that later.
And
Sorry,
I had a similar, mine was a little more anxiety, and I know I have a friend that said every time she would have a letdown, she'd get extremely anxious. And so mine maybe was a little more on that, but for the first, I would say 2-3 minutes of the pump, because I just hated the feeling of it, nobody could talk to me.
Didn't you have pain?
And I had pain.
Okay.
Yeah. I also
felt
got
like you said it was kind of hurt. Oh yeah.
That was actually what led me to stopping. I feel like I'm all over the place.
No, this is great.
We could go everywhere. Okay.
And we can. And we've got all the time in the world.
Okay, great.
So just keep going.
Yeah. So pumping, I would do every 4 hours or something, every 3 to 4 hours. I would get up, middle of the night, pump. Matt would get up and feed Jude while I pumped. It's the whole thing. And then I remember one night waking up in extreme pain. And I had only gone 2 or 3 hours in between pumping. So it didn't make sense. It wasn't like I was too engorged because I spent 20, 30 minutes on the pump, which that's another thing. I don't know if that was the right thing to do.
I don't know the right amount of time. I never quite figured that one out.
Physics equation. And I went and I sat down on the couch. I was by myself and I was just bawling. And I was like, this isn't worth it anymore. Mm. And I looked over at Matt with Jude and I felt like he got to know Jude more than I was getting to know Jude.
Relate to that so much.
Because I felt like such a machine. Mm-hmm. And I just had this moment of, who am I doing this for? Because I don't think it's for my family. Mm. Is it for other people? Like, what is this? Mm. And I had a moment with God of like, hey, I'm done. Like, right, that's okay. And it just like, there was like this peace that washed over me. Like, I have you. I go before you. I saw this coming. This doesn't surprise me. And it doesn't make you any less of a mom. And there was just such a peace about that. And I think there's still, every now and then I can fight that shame because social media and just seeing people's highlight reels of like, I'm breastfeeding a 7-year-old. And you're like, what?
I actually feel like I thought I handled it pretty well, and I think I have overall. But when I have friends that are still nursing and their baby's my age, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'll kind of feel that, you know, because they're like, how are you doing postpartum? And I'm like, oh, I feel like myself again. And I'm like, oh, they're still nursing. And then I feel that maybe grief too, or shame of just like, oh, I'm not that level of a mom anymore or something. Yes. Oh, I took a step back, and it can almost make me feel like I took the easy way out or something. Yeah. Which I hate because it was the right decision for our family and for the situation. But I do think that that's something I struggle with, is I feel like I don't care at all. It's probably also just the achiever in us. Like I want to like check the boxes. Yes. And so I want to do my best, and I feel like I failed at it. Yeah. And that's why I'm jokingly wanting to call this podcast Failed Breastfeeding, because it's like, it's not. But I do feel like a lot of women feel maybe like they failed at that. And if that's something that's important to you, feeling like you're succeeding at things, that I struggled with that specifically for that reason. Absolutely. And I notice with my friends they have to go nurse or something. I'm like oh. It's not even that I'm going to be really honest. I totally want to breastfeed with the next baby. I really enjoyed it. It's not even that I miss it or that I miss that connection. I actually feel closer with him not dealing with it because we had a traumatic experience with it. Yeah. It's just that I feel like less than for a second.
That's a really good way to put it. I have those moments. There's been a couple people and well-meaning people that just will just say something off the cusp like, oh, well, he really needs mom right now because you're his source of food. Mm-hmm, and I go, I'm not. And it's just, but I am. But I'm the one feeding him. It's just not coming from my body. Yes. But in those moments, I feel that too of like, gosh, I wish.
I guess it's second fiddle. It's like, not quite. Yeah.
And then all I have to do is get back to that place because I remember it so vividly. At whatever time at night, I feel like I've said like 3 different times. It was in the middle of the night, okay? And I was
sometime
just
between midnight and 5 a.m.
Yes,
we can confirm.
Way too late. Yeah. And I just go back to that feeling and I anchor myself in that moment that I had with God because he guides us by his peace. And I had his peace in that moment. And then I felt like the weeks to come after that were the weeks that I really bonded with Jude and got to know him. And
so when was that for you? Just for people that maybe are in what was your timeline with breastfeeding, pumping, mastitis, stopping?
Yeah, so breastfeeding, I was trying on and off along with pumping for like 6 weeks. Okay. But I was exclusively pumping because he wasn't really getting anything. Yes. So it was like kind of every now and then I would try. Okay. And then, it was 6 weeks. And then we went to formula. Well, actually, I got some donor milk.
Oh, yeah, I remember
about that.
Yeah.
Which was really cool. And
I didn't know that was a thing until I had a baby, by the way. It's a huge thing.
They have like Facebook pages.
Yeah, it's incredible.
These people that are oversuppliers, these really generous moms. I found this mom that was just a few miles down the road from us. And she had a child that was, I think, like a month older than Jude's. She was they were very close in age. And gave me bags and bags. And Jude was, I still don't know, but he wouldn't take that. He would, we know that we have spit up kids, reflux babies.
Oh, goodness, yes.
But that was more than anything. Like that was just, he was just like, would scream. No. Yeah. So it was like, okay, it's formula. It's going to be formula.
And did he take formula okay off the bat?
Formula like a champ.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so interesting.
That's
how that
good.
Works.
I have a friend right now whose baby she's nursed a long time and they're struggling to take formula, and that's a whole different issue.
Oh, man.
That's stressful too.
Yeah.
But that's great. So he was able to take it. So you didn't have that worry. It wasn't like he won't take it. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
So it was the right
Thankfully,
choice.
he took from a bottle really easily. Took the formula that we got him because we got him an anti-reflux formula, which
Oh yeah.
I don't even know if that did anything,
Yeah,
honestly.
I was just gonna say we're still over here with dirty shirts, not trying that one.
He still spit up on everything I ever
Yeah.
wore, which that gets better too.
The spit up. I'm
Yes.
still waiting for that, Brytney.
He stops at like 9 months, I think.
Okay.
So you're
We're
home stretch.
getting there.
You're just
Well,
like
you're
the finish line is
running.
right there.
It's the final sprint. Got to get there.
But yeah, so that was my story of how I got to the place to decide and to come to peace with, I'm not going to breastfeed anymore. I'm going
Yeah.
to dry up my supply and feel okay about it, and felt that
then
peace from God.
What about the other side of it? Did that bring you peace? Did you, I know you said you still feel that way every now and then, but
Yeah.
was that a chapter change?
Absolutely. That
Okay.
moment was such a chapter change. And as long as I go back to that place and anchor myself in that, I can feel God's peace. But it's when I let fear come in and when I let what other people think of me come in.
Absolutely.
And that's every time when I go, oh, did I do everything I could? And then I go to my husband and I go, did I do should I have kept going? And he's like, no, you did. I walked so closely alongside you. You did everything you could.
So true.
And yeah, I want to know, I want to know more about yours.
Gosh. Yeah. So chime into mine as much as you want, but I guess very different, but same ending, same result of like, we're going to do formula. So I had the same mindset going in. I was like, we'll try it. And I would love to breastfeed. And I would love, especially the first 6 weeks, kind of like what you did. I was like, I would really love for him to get breast milk, the antibodies, the collagen, all the stuff, or colostrum, not collagen. Is there collagen in it? Maybe both.
Is there collagen in colostrum?
Is it the same thing?
Fact check.
Whatever. It's breast milk. I wanted him to get that. Clearly, I was really educated on what was in it, and I wanted him to have it.
You should title this collagen.
Collagen, colostrum, question mark, breast milk. But it was important to me, but it wasn't, again, top priority, and I knew that going in. And I did have a lot of friends that exclusively pumped, and they all said, well, including you, don't do that. You know?
Gosh.
So I was like, I will never exclusively pump. That's out. If we can't, if it's not going to work, it's not going to work. This is, again, all before I had him. Everything changes when you have a child. So at the hospital, different situation than you because, well, Archie had, okay, so first he latched great. We were kind of had the opposite experience where we had kind of good luck where the lactation woman came in, I think like 3 times while we were there, 4 times. She just happened to keep popping in, and it was always when he was ready to eat. And so she just kind of by popping in got to be like, oh, he's eating again. Let me help again. So he latched great. It wasn't painful. Everything felt really nice. My supply was good. Everything was just going really, really well. And then when we were being discharged from the hospital and the pediatrician comes in and stuff, they noticed his tongue tie. He had a tier 4 or whatever. So it's all the way to the tip of his tongue. And so
Is that the
the most severe?
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
So it was like he couldn't lift his tongue at all. Totally stuck down. And I'm like, but he's
But
eating.
he's doing it, right?
Yeah, he's eating fine. And they're like, you're not in pain? I was like, no, I'm not in pain. So I was excited and I was kind of like, oh, maybe we're not even going to have to deal with this. But the pediatrician and the lactation were kind of like, hey, you don't have to do anything. If they're eating, that's what's important. However, you may want to get a second look and just make sure that it's not going to affect him down the road. Make your choice, whatever.
Yeah.
So for the first few weeks, we scheduled an appointment a few weeks out. But in the meantime, he actually latched great. And I had this like really sweet breastfeeding experience that lasted 4 weeks, I guess. And I think, and my mother-in-law also breastfed, and she was staying with us for the first few days. She was very helpful when I got home from the hospital because, again, was able to kind of just help me understand what was normal. When my milk came in, I'm like, am I engorged? Am I clogged ducts? And she's like, no, it's just, do I have mastitis? Like, nope, just your milk coming in, all of that. So I felt really grateful that I felt like my prayers were answered in that regard of I've had help, and I feel like I have really good footing. So I was encouraged going into the meeting with the dentist that was going to check out the dental surgeon, because I'm like, well, even if we have to get something fixed, like it's going so well, maybe we won't have to. And also, even if we do have to do something about the tongue tie, it's so early, like he'll relax. Right. He's doing great.
Right.
And so I also had we both had rough postpartums. Because everything else was rough, breastfeeding was, I remember telling you, breastfeeding's one thing that has not a stress for me. Like it's actually going well. I wasn't worried about him. I didn't have to do weighted feeds. It was a good month. He gained his weight back at his first appointment, and then some. And they're like, "Oh, he doesn't even need to come back for week 2." And I'm like, "Yes, you know, feeling so good for 30 seconds." And then when we took him to the dental surgeon, she told us, "Oh, it is a tier 4, and you don't." What?
What did she say?
Dentist?
Did she say surgeon?
I thought she was a dental surgeon. No, apparently not.
Oh yeah, I guess you're right.
Dental surgeon.
Sorry.
That's okay. I am totally winging it. I think that's what she is. But anyway, she told us that that his tongue tie was a tier 4, and she's like, you can still make the decision. However, he will have trouble eating solids, and he will probably have a lisp.
But do whatever you want. It's your call, Mom.
It's your call. I was like, oh no. And I'm like, well, okay. So again, weighing priorities, right?
Yeah.
Okay, what's more important, exclusively breastfeeding and kind of risking doing the other stuff later? Because she did say you can do this anytime, technically. But the sooner you do it, the better chance he's going to relatch, the better chance that you're not going to have, and then also he's going to be able to eat solids, all this stuff. So we weighed it, and honestly, I still don't know if we made the right choice on timing, just to be really honest. I don't have like regrets about it, but who's to say if it was the right thing? But I did decide, gosh, like I kind of for a second was like, I don't even know if I want to because the breastfeeding's going so well. I was kind of scared about risking it, but ultimately I'm thinking he's only 4 weeks. Mm-hmm. He'll probably relatch well, and it's better to do this now than when he's 6 months and he's like, what's happening or whatever. Again, don't know if that was the right call. So we did it.
Yeah. And every decision is life or death.
Every decision is literally life or death when you're in the newborn trenches.
Yes.
Like, yes, it's all you can see. It's all you can think about.
Yeah.
And so we did that. And then after he had his adorable little procedure, Jude had one too, right? Oh, yes. So cute. Oh my gosh. They're just like the cutest little people with goggles on and getting their goggles. Although the wound care for that is a whole thing.
Oh my gosh.
Horrible. The dads have to do that.
Shout out to the dads.
Can't do that.
Because I can't.
It's, next level. So got through that, and he started latching at the appointment. She had, they have you feed them, and he latched really well immediately. And so I was like, this is great. Know that. Yes. So I was like, oh my gosh, it's amazing. Well, so 10 days, maybe less actually, because I think we had his like graduation thing. Yeah. And then we went after that to a little vacation. And when we got back, it was like 5 days, our first little staycation with him. Mm-hmm. And on the staycation, nursing like normal, nursing the same amount of time, same schedule-ish. I was pretty scheduled with it. He did well with that. And I just started noticing he was fussier than usual. And I'm like, I think he's hungry. And then my mom was like, I think he's starving. And I felt so bad. I was like, what? And so I pulled out the scale. Just
famous
awful.
last words.
And I had said, I don't want to even go there. If we do that, I'll just switch to formula. Well, no. So I pull out the scale, and basically we realized that my supply had dipped majorly because his latch was not strong at all. So he was latching fine, but he wasn't pulling enough milk. He was just taking the initial letdown, and then he wasn't able to actually pull more out. So basically my supply was drying up, and when we weighed him, he was getting like 2 ounces of feed, which he should be getting probably at that time 4 or 5 or something, 6. So I was absolutely freaking out, and I was like, oh no. So that started the same thing you went through, the spiral of, are we going to pump? Are we going to do that?
Yes.
And those few weeks, I think we went on a walk with you and Matt, went to Priscilla's. I don't know if you remember that. Yeah. And you guys were like, it feels like it's everything. I promise it's not. And I was like, well, there's nothing else in life besides this conversation.
I know.
This is like all with the scale and when we're going to weigh him again. And am I going to have enough supply? And I need to drink electrolytes and do all these things to keep my supply.
You can't think of it. There's no room. There's no capacity for anything else.
Nothing else.
Yeah.
And so that's when, I don't think I'd started pumping yet. I was just trying to figure all that out, get my supply up, whatever. Had to start pumping in that time. And in the meantime, I think we started trying formula, like maybe 1 bottle a day, just to be like, just in case, is he okay with it? And he was totally, like, he's on the same formula we started with, which is totally crazy because I know a lot of people struggle with finding the right one.
Right.
But he was fine. And so that gave me less peace than it should have, because really that was good to know. Yeah. But I was like, okay, well, I still don't want to do that. And so I started eventually just switching to, with all the weighted feeds and everything, I switched to not pumping. I switched to triple feeding. Did you triple feed?
So
probably.
Wait. Okay, what was triple feeding?
Triple feeding, I believe, is when you breastfeed and then you pump and then
feed.
And then you feed the bottle.
Yes. That's when Matt had to get up with me and feed him to take one of those out. And then we're both exhausted.
Oh.
And then that's not good for anybody.
Yes.
But yes. Okay. So you triple fed.
I did that
how
for
long?
I want to say, I almost said 2 weeks. It might have been 3 days, guys. It was not long, but you know,
time means nothing.
The time, what is time? But the funny thing, for all I know, it was either 3 days or 3 weeks.
But it felt like an eternity.
It was an eternity. Connor was also in South Carolina at the time. He was working, and I was by myself. My mom was out of town. My mother-in-law she got here eventually to help. Nobody was here. You were out of town, I think. Cricket was out of town. My whole community gone, and I was triple feeding all day long with him. And seriously, that was, there were 2 days that were the toughest days of motherhood. The day I got a migraine and this day. And because I was alone both times with no help.
Oh my
And it's just one of those moments where you're like, I've just never been so defeated, exhausted, hormonal, sad, and just felt so bad for Archie because I'm like, and that's when he started fighting. This became a whole nother struggle we had, was fighting the bottle. So he didn't want to, he was taking the formula fine, but when it came to like the bottle, he would just take forever. He would take 30 minutes to finally start latching and be like, okay, now I'm happy.
Which I think shows you it's his tongue tie. Like that's confirmation,
well, it was still
right?
it was still healing. Probably. I think so because he's totally over that now.
Yeah.
And they say it can take 8 weeks or 12 weeks to really fully heal. So I think it was in that period. But I did triple feeding, and I reached out to a friend who had a tongue tie, and I was like, how long did you have to, I knew that she mentioned triple feeding, and she's like, I triple fed for 6 months. It was so worth it. And I mean, seriously, she's a hero.
6 months?
I was like 3 days in. She said eventually she learned to relatch. I was like,
6 months?
You're a hero. I cannot.
Hero? I
Yes.
can't. What?
What? And so I said, okay. And I asked a couple other friends. I was like, it's not going to happen. So I ended up switching to exclusive pumping. It was the weekend my mother-in-law was in town, and she was like, I really think, and she'd been so supportive. She was also had breastfed, and so she was kind of she wasn't putting any pressure on me, but she was like a champion of like, you can do this. And she saw the triple feeding, and she stayed with me, and she was like, you need to switch to pumping. And I was like, oh, thank God. So that gave me some level. I was like, as a
I needed to hear that.
Exclusively breastfeeding mother of 4 babies, she was like, you can't do this. This isn't sustainable. And I was like, okay. So not that I should have needed her permission, but I needed someone to oversee the situation that wasn't me and Connor, because we were 2 in the thick of it, and be like, hey, just so you know, like, I don't know if you need permission here, but you can switch. So I switched to exclusive pumping, and I did that for, I think another, well, let's see, by the time he was probably 8, I did it for maybe another 6 weeks.
Okay.
And
you lasted a while.
well, that was because of my pride, and that's something that needs to be addressed. We talked to you and Matt before we went, because when we started traveling in August, I was still pumping. And it was right before we went on that trip, because I quit over that trip because the Lord met me in my crumbling.
Yes.
But anyway, but we talked before on your patio, and I remember Matt asking me.
I remember this. Yep. Okay.
Why? So he takes the bottle well. He takes formula well. At this point, he was better with the bottle. He takes formula well. You know, Connor's saying he doesn't mind if you don't, and you're saying that your mental health is basically, he could tell I was a shell of a human. He was like kindly like, let's take a look. Yeah. And he's like, what? I'm just curious, like, why? And what's the reason that's keeping you doing this when you're saying it's not really good for anybody involved? You're not having that time with Archie that you want, all that. And it made me realize it's me. Like, I'm not giving myself permission. I'm not living in freedom, honestly. I'm feeling chained to this. I'm feeling like I have to, in order to be a good mom, I need to prove this to myself more than even the world, because I didn't really, I'm sure it was partially what other people thought, but I think it was more so just me being like, I for other moms, so many, you included, so many friends, I'm like, you don't have to breastfeed. That doesn't make you any less of a mom, and meant it to my core.
But it's
me, nope, you got to breastfeed. Yep. As long as you're the hero, everybody else, you're like, you're doing amazing.
Yeah, you're
but
fine.
I'm like, why do I have this different standard for myself accidentally? It's just so ingrained in maybe all of us to be like, you hold yourself to this higher standard and then you beat yourself up for it, when you would tell any girlfriend, you're doing amazing and like mean it. You
Yeah.
don't need to do that. And then for yourself, you're like, but I have to.
Yeah.
So that's
So
how
true.
I felt.
That's so real.
And it really hit me. So that conversation with you guys actually sparked something in me. We then went on this trip and I was exclusively pumping. I also didn't have portable pumps. Did you have like the portable that go in your shirt?
But they didn't get as much as the wall pump did.
I've heard that. I've heard mixed reviews.
I don't know why. Yeah.
So I had my Spectra on this whole trip on the airplane, walking through LAX, pumps on, Spectra in hand, rolling bags. It was, middle row of a flight, just all of that stuff, all the bottles spilling.
Yep.
All of it. And it was kind of wrecking our trip a little bit, to be honest.
Yeah.
And that's when my hormones were like going like crazy. And it's just every time I was pumping, I would get rageful. And what I realized, I'm serious, and what I realized was Connor's laughing at me. He knows. He's scared. But I did. And that wasn't me. That was not like me. And I think that when we got there, we landed, I'd had a really bad day at the airport. And I don't know if you felt this. I always felt so much shame about my attitude with it. Like,
yes,
you were saying no one could talk to you when you're having your letdown. I'm like, what's wrong with me? I feel so soft. Like, I should be able, I feel like I'm strong in my faith. I feel like I'm a pretty considerate wife, and I try to have a level head.
Yeah.
And there was nothing level-headed about this. I could not wrap my mind around seeing this with anything other than anger, rage, everything that made me feel shameful. Mm-hmm. And so I was praying in Charleston, and I was like alone with Archie at this coffee shop and just kind of journaling my thoughts on it. And I was like, God, I feel like a really bad wife right now. Like, I was really mean to Connor at the airport yesterday. That's not me. I was really snappy with him. And I am mad that I was so mad at myself. And I'm like, I know that that's not you. And I know that you're not mad at me. But I feel like it kind of realizing how much shame it was putting on me because of, I'm like, this just needs to go. Like, this thing needs to go. My son is totally happy with the bottle and with formula. My husband does not care. My husband would love to have me back, probably. Let's be real. And I'm doing this to hold myself to some standard that just does it for what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I ended up that day, a friend of mine sent me like a really sweet devotional from the Ann Voss campsite. And it was about just actually like we say we walk in freedom in Christ, but what are the things, because we think of these major sins that maybe, we're not walking in freedom in this giant bondage, but we don't realize sometimes it's control or sometimes it's anxiety.
Yeah.
And I realized when she sent that to me, I don't even know if she knew I was struggling with this. I couldn't tell you, but she sent it that day that I was praying about pumping, and I read it and I was like, true freedom. She's like, I was not walking in true freedom that Christ offered because of this bondage with control, this bondage with anxiety. And I just realized, I was like, I don't feel free right now. Yeah. I feel bound to this crazy standard that no one's asking of me and that my son doesn't need. Like, I feel like I missed him, like my baby. Yeah. I'm like, I just want to be with my family.
Yep.
And so that's when I stopped. Best decision ever.
Praise the Lord.
Praise the Lord. Also, my breast like dried up really quickly. It really wasn't a giant, I don't know how yours were, but like it wasn't a giant thing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, mine was pretty quick too. I used I did like everything in the book. Again, Google, which is a terrible place to be. It's just we should never stay on Google.
Honestly, it has a lot of, maybe helpful suggestions. I don't know.
Maybe.
But
did
you try like
the
cabbage or something?
I did the cabbage.
Okay, I did not, just because I was traveling. But what was that about?
I have so much to say to what you just said. I have to get back to that, but we have to tell the story about the cabbage. Because when I had the mastitis, my boobs were really hot. They were like on fire, and I was putting cabbage on them, and it was frozen cabbage that turned into cooked cabbage pretty much because it was
all of a sudden steam's flying out.
And they were like hot, and I remember just laying there, a shell of a human, trying to pump, which makes you feel like a machine.
Oh, 100%.
And I'm laying there next to Matt, and I reek of cabbage, like cooked cabbage.
Why is this? Is it just a scientific thing that just helps?
I don't know.
Because I've heard a lot of women say it.
Oh my gosh, it stunk up the whole house, and I'm laying there, still kind of a newlywed at this point. We'd only been married a year, and I'm laying there next to him, and I'm like,
already gone through postpartum.
Cabbage.
Yeah.
I reek of cabbage. I'm wearing a diaper.
Yeah.
What
is
really
happening?
loves me. But yeah, that did help though.
Okay.
Shout out to cabbage.
Cabbage, we love you. I'll try it next time.
We love you.
Goodness.
Anyway, I want to go back to what you just said. I think that that's so valuable. And like we said at the beginning of this, it's so isolating, but universal.
Yeah.
And after you deal with it, I don't know if you felt this way, but so many women came out with these stories. It was like, but it's like you didn't want to talk about it. But then when you met somebody else that went through, you're like, oh my gosh, I had the same situation.
Very true.
Yeah. And it's just, bless you.
Thank you.
It's
Sneeze
just,
right into the mic.
It's God's grace meeting us where we're at. And I think the through line to my story and your story when we decided to stop was peace from the Lord. And I think as Christian women, there might even be another added element of we can do this because God gave us this.
God made us to do this.
God made us to do this.
There might even be a little bit of pressure in the Christian world to do that.
I would guess so, because I think that was a big element for me of, okay, this is how God designed me. I'm going against God's design. And that's not true at all. And for both of us to have these stories of quitting breastfeeding that aligned with God's peace just shows how gracious he is.
Yeah.
He meets us where we're at. He knows every story. People have been dealing with this
Forever.
since that's what nurses were for. Like, this is a thing.
Yes.
And to have that, it just shows the character of God. So it's really interesting.
It really does. Something else, I love what you just said. Something that made me think of, the other thing I wanted to touch on was the priority list, as we talked about a little bit. I think something before I decided to stop officially was I kept having to remember, because you get your head so in it. Like you said, you can't think about anything else. And I had to keep trying to remember and remind myself, what are my priorities as a family? And I kept remembering it's God and marriage and our children and then everything else. And I'm like, if my relationship with God and if my marriage if my mental health is so rough right now that my marriage is crumbling and my beautiful child that I just birthed, I can't connect with my husband or my baby because of this pump, then I don't think that's not, because some people genuinely are like, breastfeeding's number one for me. It's absolutely something that I'm so passionate about. I will do whatever to pump for to breastfeed my child for a year, 2 years, 3 years. People have different goals with that. It just wasn't mine going in. And so I had to keep it's like I had to keep fixed on that North Star of like, I want to be the wife I want to be, to raise he's not, we pray one day to have more kids. And I'm like, I just want to be the wife and the mother and be present. And if this is taking me out of that, I don't value this enough to spend the entire first year in misery.
Exactly.
And that's what it was going to be. And so I'm so grateful that I feel like the Lord gave me that reminder of the permission to,
That's so good. Free. I remember somebody told me that they quit breastfeeding. It might've been something I read online. They quit breastfeeding at 8 weeks, and they were like, it was about 6 weeks too long because she said, I would honestly give anything to go back and have that 6 weeks of getting to know my child. And
I feel
that was really helpful for me too, to go, okay, if I give him formula, that doesn't immediately make me a terrible mom. And the one thing that I've really gotten out of all of this is, one, God is so gracious. And two, whatever decision you make, exclusive breastfeeding, exclusive pumping, which heroes.
Yes.
Heroes.
True heroes.
Formula feed from the get-go, like whatever it looks like. Most people are making their decision based off of their intuition, and that makes a good mom.
Yeah.
And so it's like, whatever you're deciding, most likely you're making this decision as a mom loving your child.
Yes.
And so now going into the second, whenever that is, I'm excited to try again.
Yeah.
But also, hopefully, I say this now,
we'll be replaying the footage when you're like,
you're me crying. You're like, watch this. But hopefully,
give yourself wisdom.
Yeah, knowing whatever decision I make, I know that it's what's best as me being a wife and a mom, and just for my family in general, and to release that pressure. That's what I would tell any woman, that whatever decision you make is going to be.
It's so true.
The right one.
And what do they say? So many people talk about, you were the mother of that child for a reason, and every child is unique, and every need is unique, and every mom, like you're assigned from the Lord to be the mother. And so if your intuition is this is what we need to do, trust that, because comparison will rob you of that season. It will absolutely rob you. It still can try to, where I'm not breastfeeding anymore. I'm not. It's like, no, this is what we're doing. This is what the Alexanders are doing.
Yeah.
This is what our house is doing. And Archie's great. And I feel like just comparison in general with motherhood is constant. And I just think every time I talk to someone, it's like you said, once you say it, a girl will say, oh my gosh, I struggled with that too. I stopped breastfeeding too. Tell me more. It didn't work for me. And it's like this community of soldiers that are like grabbing you, like, oh my gosh, we've been through war together. Yes, you get it. And I mean, the same could be said for postpartum probably, which is even more universal.
Totally.
But it's just that feeling of we're actually not alone, and we shouldn't be. I think one thing that's coming to mind that I just want to say is I find myself, and I have to catch myself every time I do it, when I say that I'm not breastfeeding anymore, I'll say he had a tongue tie, or I did it for 4 months.
Right, something that I can follow up and make it look like I'm.
And that's ridiculous. Because the fact is, if day one it wasn't happening, and he took formula well, and that was my choice, it doesn't make you a bad mom. And so anyway, I just want to say that for anybody that maybe never tried breastfeeding, and you're feeling, you don't need to be like, well, I tried, or I did this, or I did that. If you want to share your story, that's great. But that every single time God pokes me when I do that, and he's like, who are you saying that for?
Yes.
Who are you saying that for? It's not helpful to them. You're just trying to make yourself feel better.
I know.
Like, oh,
I go into a 14-hour spiel, and they're like, I just asked if you're breastfeeding.
What are you stricken?
I didn't need to know about the hospital.
He looks really healthy, and I just wanted to know what you're doing because it's working.
Right. I just asked his name. I don't know how that happened. It's so true, though. And yeah, I feel like any mom listening to this, you're doing a great job.
Yes. And
you're doing such a great job.
Trust your gut, trust the Lord. And I also think, I just want to say, be open with your spouse about it too. That was huge for me when I finally, because I will say guys they're not breastfeeding, and they are different.
Yeah.
And I had to really specifically sit Connor down and say, hey, we keep kind of talking loosely about should I stop, whatever. I really need your opinion on this, and I really need your support on this. It was really important to me that he told me, I need you to know I don't have that standard for you. Like, this is okay. And so I had felt kind of like he was being so supportive, but he just didn't understand how much I needed to hear specific words.
Absolutely.
And when I told him, I need to hear you say, our child will be great if you don't pump anymore.
Yep.
I needed it.
That's so
don't be afraid to ask your spouse that. The guy doesn't know. He didn't know. He was like, oh, I thought you already knew that I felt that way. I'm like, nope, need you to say it.
Oh my gosh. I had a very similar conversation with Matt that completely unlocked freedom for me. Because we talked about breastfeeding before we had Jude, and we both decided together it's most ideal for him to get breast milk. And so that was the voice that was in my head, and maybe even more so than doing it for me. I wanted to prove to Matt that I was strong.
I had some of that too.
So much of that. And so when he wasn't saying anything, or he was encouraging me and being like, you can do it. And I was taking that as, you expect me to do it.
You want me to do it. Yeah.
Yes. And there was so much pressure. And then when we sat down and talked about it, he was like, oh my gosh, no, like, you're a great mom. At where we're at right now, it's not worth it. Like, you do whatever decision you make, I will support you 100%. And I know that Jude's going to be fine. And I needed that. I really needed that.
Oh my gosh. Like, yes.
Over communication in the early postpartum days,
in general,
like, is huge.
It
in
is.
general, yeah.
Well, because I'm shocked by how often I will. Girls are just, women are wired differently than men, and so I'm shocked by how often I'll say, I really need to hear this, or I really want to. And he's like, I had no idea.
Oh yeah,
I just didn't know that's important to you, and I think we just. We complement each other so well, but we're just wired differently. So I'm shocked how many times I'm like, oh, actually, just if I communicate and say, hey, this isn't important for me, or this is my expectation for the day, or I really need you to tell me that it's okay if I stop pumping. Yeah. Like, oh, of course. Like, they're on your side. Yeah. They just don't always know how to help. Yeah. That's what I think. With Connor, at least, I'm like, you want to help. You just don't always know. I need to tell you. They can't read. They're not mind readers.
How could they know? Yeah. They've never
been a girl.
Experienced that.
Yeah. They've never been a girl. They don't get it.
Yeah. I think that there's another thing I would say to all the men watching, all the 3 men maybe watching.
The 3 men.
all the creeps that are streaming. Or all the good husbands that want to be
that are studying us for their wife's breastfeeding story.
When Matt tells me that I'm a good mom, it's better than anything. Like, good wife and good mom, I'm like, I can conquer the entire world.
Soaring.
Like, soaring. Absolutely.
Flying through the rest of your day.
Yeah.
Oh, and that's just so beautiful.
It's just,
that is good advice.
Getting that encouragement from him, I'm like, I can keep going. I can I can do this on days that I'm like, what am I have
What
no
am I
idea.
doing?
I'm a baby raising a baby.
Yeah, which is so
yeah.
true. What would you say, you kind of maybe touched on it, but what would be a piece of advice that you would have for someone who is struggling right now with breastfeeding?
Oh man. Pray, communicate with your spouse like we've talked about. And I think take a step back and see what you would say to your best friend.
That's really good.
Yeah. Because like you said, it's so easy. When I saw you struggling, I was like, Carrie, it's not worth it.
I know. And same with you.
And yeah.
You were like, I have mastitis. I might need to stop. And I'm like, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yes.
you should. He's great. Yeah.
But I think that's so true. I mean, what would you say to your little sister or
That's
your
really
best friend?
good. That's really good,
yeah.
Britt. Yeah. I think
about
that
you?
I would say everything you said, I would repeat it. And then I would also say pull back the lens. Like go forward a year. And go forward 2 years, go forward 3 years, and remember that it's a moment in time because it does feel like it is your life.
Oh, it feels like eternity.
From the moment you're born to the moment you'll die, it's just a pump and Spectra and you and your baby triple feeding.
Yes.
And it's not. And
cleaning
cleaning pump parts. Oh, triggered. Oh. I heard someone say that they played, like there was a voice message they listened to and they heard a Spectra in the background. Did you tell me this? And
I don't think so.
Somebody just said that one of their friends had been exclusively pumping and she heard the Spectra thing in a video or in a voice message and she was like, and like immediately had a physical response to that.
Like, yes. Oh,
yeah.
Oh
it's
my
awful.
gosh.
Yeah. It is a moment in time and it will pass. And
yeah,
that would be that's definitely my advice.
Especially for first time moms. I feel like that everybody says this to me. It goes by so fast, which I agree 100%. Like I cannot believe I have a 1-year-old.
I know, it's so crazy.
But I'd like to challenge that and say, yes, it goes by fast, except for the newborn phase.
I agree
for
with
me
that.
at least.
It feels like you're in the trenches and it feels like it's never going to end.
So for first time moms, yes, to be like, it's okay. For when people say that, it used to make me feel shame of like, of course I want to feel content in this time, but also
those
I'm
first
just
3
trying to get
months
sleep.
are very tough and they kind of feel long. And I struggled with feeling like, oh no, I need to hurry up and feel normal again. And it's like, you will in the breastfeeding phase and figuring it all out. It really is. Yes, you're so right. It really is a small season. But that does feel like an eternity. And then it flips and then they start growing and you figure it all out and it goes faster. Yeah.
I also wanted to touch on what you said about comparison being like the thief of joy and the social media element of all of this.
Yes.
And I remember when we did our postpartum
algorithms are rude.
Oh, they're so rude. So disrespectful. When you brought up postpartum and how you were like, this girl with her 7 kids is like full face of makeup, like taking these pictures and you're
Matching
like, what?
PJs.
How is this? Yeah. And how it was just harder.
Oh
for
my
you.
gosh.
I had those moments too. And I still do with breastfeeding where you'll see moms that are like in Cabo with the deuces up with their kid on their breast and they're just walking around like it's nothing. And you go,
really?
Am I a baby? Like what happened?
Am I a baby?
That's
That's
so
true.
Not true. Every experience is so different. And we've talked about Sadie Robertson. Shout out.
Love her.
You need to come on the show.
Yeah.
And
come on over, Sadie.
Come on over. Just how she had a really hard time with her first. And
I
then
love
she
her
was
testimony.
And she was able to breastfeed with the second.
And the third now.
And the third.
Yeah.
So we say all this to say, we're going to try. It was terrible and we're going to try again.
Absolutely. And you'll be along for the journey. And I'm going to have you keep coming back when you do have a second.
Absolutely.
How are we doing? We'll preach you your own advice. It'll be great. But that's so true. It's like we don't know what the future holds. We don't know what the next baby. That's why it's called New Mom. It's like we're in this together. Yeah. We don't know. But I do know that like today as it stands, I pray for moms that are with baby number 1 that they just take a breath and realize it's okay. And I think if you're heading toward baby number 2 like we are, hopefully we can all, hindsight is everything. And I hope that we take the wisdom to know just to be a little less hard on ourselves and to also have the hope, like you said, if you do want to try to breastfeed again, which I do too. Yeah, it is possible. You do hear those stories. So yeah. This was so great. So
much fun.
Could talk to you'll so be back. And you're just gonna have to be like a series regular. But I
would love to be.
This was so fun. Well, anyway,
blast.
All the moms out there, I hope this is encouraging. I hope you got some laughs and also feel less alone because this is a part of it. It's a struggle.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Awesome. Bye, Brit.